Welcome to our LEGO Star Wars Hoth MOC. Last week we did a huge update to the front of Echo Base Mountain. This week, it's time for the Wampa to attack. And don't forget to stick around to the end of the video, because the poll results are in, and the fate of Toryn Farr is at hand. So let's build! Alright, so as we move down the right-hand side of the MOC, 2 of the 3 scenes are in place. The Ghost Ben scene, the scene with Luke being made into a Tauntaun pinata, but the scene that is missing is the Wampa attack.
Hey, what's the matter? You smell something?
First things first, we have to put Luke on the Tauntaun, talking to Han on his old wrist radio. Alright, so there is Luke in position on the Tauntaun. He's talking into his wrist radio with his right hand, and he's got the binoculars in his left hand, and we put the lightsaber on the side of the Tauntaun. Now we have to position the evil Wampa. And for those of you new to the MOC, we have 3 Wampas on the board. The first Wampa is tearing apart a snowtrooper in Echo Base, which is from a deleted scene from Empire Strikes Back. Then we have the Wampa Cave, where the Wampa is munching on JarJar Binks and the Tauntaun, and up next for dinner is Luke. So the third Wampa has to be ready to attack Luke Skywalker. So first things first, let's get him into attack position. I'm going to have his one arm kind of cocked back and this arm cocked forward. So he's kind of like in a full sprint to go attack Luke. And I put a 1x1 stud on the bottom of his foot to adhere him to the board. Now, one other thing to keep in mind is I kind of have our scenes hidden behind the taller mountains all the way down. So right now, Luke is hidden by this mountain, so we want to stick the Wampa behind this mountain, and he's kind of like catching up to Luke. I want to put him on a little bit of an angle because he is getting ready to just come at Luke. Now that looks a little funky. I'm gonna move that arm forward just a little bit. It's too bad the inside of the arms aren't molded great, so it looks like he has a hole in his arm. So we can only have that arm cocked back a little bit as he comes to attack Luke. So let's see it from the other side and see if we can see any Luke, Tauntaun, or Wampa. Alright, as we pan across here, it looks pretty good. I don't see any Luke Skywalker in there. I don't see any Wampa behind that hill. You gotta go up pretty high to see him. So I think that positioning is pretty good. So one last thing I want to do with this scene is put down a little groundwork. The Wampa would have come up behind him, so we want to build some sneaky Wampa footprints to go behind him. Okay, so there are my Wampaprints. And you'll notice at the end of the footprints, I left this little circle here. And I don't know if it's because I saw Cocaine Bear recently, or I'm feeling a little brutal. I think we're going to say Wampa ran into an unfortunate Rebel trooper who might have stepped out from Rebel Base to, maybe use the restroom over here, relieve himself behind the snow cavern, which turns out was a horrible mistake. Yeah, so, in horror movies when they say don't get separated with the rest of the party, that's what this happened to this Rebel trooper. And sorry, this probably is not going to stay on the MOC. I don't know what got into me. I don't know if it's because you guys maybe put Jar Jar behind the control panel, or if, I just saw Cocaine Bear. So, there's that. I have a feeling Assistant's going to make me move it. But with that, speaking of footprints and Wampaprints, it is time to put down more Walkerprints. How exciting! Not to worry, I'm going to do that all in hyperlapse mode to the back of this walker. Let's do it!
Get up, nah I ain't a quitter. Toss me the ball, I'm a really big hitter. Big picture, I'm a straight killer. Rising the song to the highest bidder. Got juice, got gas, I'ma move fast. New shoes, new tracks, like who's that? I'm new, come back, better than last. Yeah, it's a new me, never gonna look back. I'm never gonna look back. Cause damn, I was built to last. You move slow and I move fast.
Alright, so that will do it for the middle walker's footsteps. That looks pretty darn cool. So we are going to be putting some footsteps right around the inside of his legs and there. That is something we're going to do last because we want to do the final position of the walkers but I think the trail behind him looks pretty sweet. And it has been evenly spaced, so it fits with his leg configuration, foot configuration, whatever. It's right. So we still have some more footprints to do. This guy needs some, this one needs some. We need some from there to where Dak got smooshed. And this guy is good. So, slowly but surely, the footprints are getting done. So that is gonna do it for the build portion of the video. Let's bring Assistant down and see how much trouble I'm in.
Alright guys, so Leaky has been hard at work with the MOC here. As you can see, he has added in the footprints leading up to the lead walker here that's assaulting our Hoth base. And I think these footprints definitely add a ton to the MOC. We, of course, have some over here, but we just had a few. So now that we have the whole line of footprints here, you can see it really is adding some texture, especially back here where it was a little bit more just kind of open white space. So we still have some more footprints to add, of course, but we're moving along definitely, you know, with the detail back here. So it's looking really good. And speaking of detail, this scene has been, you know, on the to-do list for a while now, and it is where Luke is kind of, you know, in here looking about, and then a Wampa comes up and attacks him. And of course, we've added a little bit of a twist here with a violent turn to a piss run. So let's, you know, go with a buddy. It's a buddy system. But speaking of scenes and minifigures, we still do have to add a minifigure for this episode, Leaky.
Yes, we do. And we got some poll results back. So I'm going to show the poll results, and Assistant, I think you're going to be both happy and horrified all at once.
Oh geez, let's go look at the results.
So that's right, the poll results are in. We are now going to tell you which Toryn Farr minifigure we're putting on the MOC. And in first place is replace Toryn Farr with JarJar Binks. So I'm actually going to show you what would happen if we did that. Let's take a look. All right, you guys asked for it, and now you're gonna get it.
Musical JarJar Binks. Steady, steady. No.
Get out of there. So yeah, that's not happening. So let's go back to Assistant and see the real poll results.
So as you guys know, last week we had placed Toryn Farr on the MOC, but she had, you know, some interesting features with her that we didn't quite like. She had peach hands, and then of course we also had our older figure here. So what we wanted to do is we held a vote to see which one of the versions we'd like, and now we have the results. So let's take a look.
So Assistant, this was all off camera, but in first place, and you're not aware of this, was we replaced Toryn Farr with JarJar Binks.
What?
62% of the vote.
This is Hoth.
Yeah, I know. So he's gone. Target Legend actually say he'd unsubscribe from the channel if we put JarJar Binks down.
I would too.
So yeah, we're not going to do that. So in second place, which is actually first place, is the Assistant option.
Aha! The most best option, which of course is just making her hands gray so she matches all of the other figures here in our medical or our Hoth control center. You know, she is the proper figure, but I think adding the gray hands definitely makes it whole, especially the scenes. The peach hands were looking weird.
But I am upset, Assistant. How the heck is she supposed to call anyone without a frickin' headset?
Well, maybe LEGO should have thought of that.
I am control. 5.
Her torso is more accurate, though, to how she actually did look in the movie, so I do appreciate the proper figure. She was made, so, you know, we have to have her. That's just kind of how these things go. It kind of is the same thing with our droid over here. It was made, so we have to get it, despite its ridiculous price points. So
and
that's just kind of how it is.
And the people have spoken, so, you know, to heck with you.
Yeah, and you guys get to vote, so definitely stay tuned and check out the community section because we do hold votes quite a bit.
I'll put headset lady back here.
Yes, of course.
You know, of course, there you don't really need a headset, so whatever.
Well, she is working hard on whatever she is working on, and we are also working hard on the Hoth MOC. And if you want to see all the behind-the-scenes actions, make sure to check out the member program. But other than that, guys, that's probably going to do it for this episode. So I will see you in the next one.